Hey there, crafty friend. It's Diane, the Creative Inkster. Welcome. It is Tuesday, no, it's not. It's Wednesday, September 21st, 2022. I've had a wildly busy week in the day job. It's been wonderfully busy, which is good. And so here I am trying to do some stamping and around that on the evenings. So welcome. This is my first night moving what was called Technique Tuesday to Wednesday nights. That's just going to help sort out my personal life where some of my activities on Tuesdays are now taking place and it's hard to be everywhere and be all things. So I'm hoping this Wednesday gig is going to work at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. If you're out there watching, let me know you're here. I love chatting with you and knowing that you're listening to me. And if you're watching the replay, just let me know there so that I will get a note in there and I can respond to your comments. Here is the card I'm going to show you tonight. It's called a double gatefold, double Z fold, which is kind of how it works out. It's a double gatefold anyway. Hi Brenda, hi Vicki. I saw it on Connie Stewart's YouTube channel and I just had to try it. I thought it was cute. She's got it much more decorated on the inside, which you can do with the Tea Boutique paper and stamp set, but I made a really quick one here to show you how to make this fun fold. So let's go ahead and get started. You need a couple of extra supplies that are a little bit different in size. So you're going to need a piece that's 11 inches long by 5 1/4. Normally we cut out 4 1/4 and that gives us 2 card bases out of 1 piece of paper. This one's going to be a little bit of that excess is going to go on another project that you're going to do. So 5 1/4 wide by 11, and we're going to do a little bit of scoring. So grab your Simply Scored or your paper trimmer like this, and we're going to score at, just going to double check my measurements here. I believe it was 1 3/4 and 3 1/2, which makes perfect sense. So we are going to score on the left. So this is the 11-inch side horizontal to me. 1 3/4. Boom. And then slide it over and do the same at 3 1/2. Now, so we don't have to stick the arm out and make lots of extra numbers, we're going to flip it over to the other side. Oops. Lose our scoring blade. I think it's time that I put a new scoring blade on here, only because I think I've used it so much it's falling out of the track too easily. So flipping it over on the other side, I'm going to do the same scoring measurements, 1 3/4 and 3 1/2. And that just avoids having to go like 1 3/4, 3 1/2, blah, blah, and blah. Okay? Just makes it a little bit easier. Hi, Mark. Thanks for joining me. I hope this is bright enough. I was playing with the lights a little bit, and I'm just not sure it's bright enough. Okay, we've got our card base done. Next thing is to get a couple of pieces of regular cardstock. So these are 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, which means together they were half a sheet of cardstock, and then cut this way. All right, so that's what's going to replicate this piece here of cherry cobbler. And so we've got those. And then we need some pattern paper. So I cut this out of a 12 by 12, but you can use 6 by 6 to make this as well, because this piece measures 4 by 5 1/4. So it's your standard front to a card, 4 by 5 1/4. And then another strip over here that is 1 1/4 by 4 3/4. And we're going to mat that guy on top of a 1 1/2 by 5. And that's what makes this piece here, this matted piece here. Okay, so we've got all those, and then we just need our focal point, which tonight I'm going to use 2 circles that layer together. I happen to have these already in my stash, so this was already embossed. Just cut out the circle and cut out a scallop to sticker on. And then I'm going to use the Peaceful Deer stamp set. I'm going to stamp one of the deer, color them, punch them out, and then, because he's got a matching punch, These were a bundle. I don't know if the annual catalog still has them as a bundle, but you can still get them in the annual catalog. You can do a little coloring and add a greeting. So let's get the nuts and bolts of the card going. Right-o. First of all, we've got this large piece. It can be white, it can be thin cardstock or regular cardstock. I'm going with Sahara Sand. We've scored it. So we're going to fold, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 score lines. We're going to go to the second one in from the left, and we're going to fold it in and burnish. And then the one in the middle that you see there, you're going to fold back and burnish. So you've made this little piece here. Over on the right, from the right hand side, you've got 1, 2 score lines. Fold over the second one in, burnish it, fold back that piece that you see there. Okay, and that's how we make this gate fold. And there's supposed to be a little gap in between. So if you get a gap, don't worry. That's normal. Okay? It's also, we can get the right size on the outside. So the first easiest part is to stick this 4 by 5 1/4 onto the back. And you're going to see, if you just lay it on top, that it's, I know it's interesting, right, Vicki? That it is larger than the piece that we scored and folded. And that's important. So we want to add the glue to the smaller piece, which is this big layer here, this gatefold layer. We're going to add glue to the back. So use what you like. I do find that for a card like this, liquid glue is going to be your friend because it'll allow you to position it if you don't get it down straight the very first time. So I'm going to kind of hold this over the camera and try not to get my head in the way. And I'm going to lay this down on top. And because I have wiggle room, I'm going to lift it up. And before it dries, it's going to wiggle it into place, so that I have an even border showing all the way around. It still opens. So far, so good. All right, let's take that DSP, that's 4 by 5 1/4, and your other piece, I'm using soft succulent, but your other piece for the outside, let's glue these guys together. So don't get too far ahead of me though. There's a special way to glue this all down. So take your DSP and glue that onto your layer. I love liquid glue. It goes so far. It's so reasonably priced. And it works on just about everything. Okay. Now, the trick. When we want to add this to the front, we only want glue on one side. You could put it on this side and it opens this way. Or you can put the glue on this side and it opens that way. Don't put the glue on both sides because it won't open. How do I know this? I've done it. Okay, so I'm going to put mine on the left. So on the left, fold it over panel. I'm going to get some liquid glue down. And I'm going to push these in just so that it makes it easier for positioning. And I'm going to lay it down and then I'm going to try my best to line it up with the back one. So if I score it up on the table both ways, that should accomplish that. And press down here and voila! I only have glue on one side and it's not peeking through. This is good. There's the nuts and bolts. Then over on this panel we're going to decorate it with a little bit of this. You could make other layers of this pretty DSP or whatever you choose. Now on Connie's card she did a bunch of stamping on the inside, but I'm not going to do that because secretly this is going to be a swap card. Don't tell anybody. It's on the QT for a little bit here. Okay, there we go. It's going to be a surprise for them. So on my outside flap, not the one that folds in, but the one that folds open out, I got that. And then, you know, you can put a nice big message in here. You could put, because there's space, you could put a little pocket in here with a piece of cardstock. So let's imagine this is a piece of cardstock. You could glue a piece down and slip a gift card in there with a greeting on here. That'd be pretty cool, right? And you're good to go. So on the front, for decorating, I'm first going to stamp my deer, and I'm going to go with this one, not the one with the words on it, but this body shape here. And I'm going to stamp him in Memento ink so that I can color him in. I'm using Stampin' Blends, which are alcohol-based markers, so I want to stamp with Tuxedo Black Memento ink, which is a water-based ink. And I found that if I stamp it first and then I color it in, then I punch it out, it goes a little bit better than if I've punched it out. Not sure why, just seems to be the way it works out. So let me show you what I discovered on the weekend when I was using these Stampin' Blends. So I went to use the thick end. Which one is it? Oh, this one's good. Must be the dark. Oh, it seems to be fixed. Maybe I don't have to buy a replacement one. The whole thing came right out. Is it going to do it again? I might get an extra one anyway. Oh, there was this end. Okay, I'm gonna probably get a replacement anyway. I've had these since these ones first came out, like what, 3 years ago, and so yeah, I found that this has come apart, and that happens. So if it does, and you've only had your blends like 3 months or upwards of 3 months, then they will be completely replaced. But once they're past that, the warranty on that kind of thing is isn't still valid. So I would suggest, whenever you get some new product, especially ink type products, that you check them out right away so that if they need to be replaced, we get them done before too far in. Okay, so let's go back to what we were going to do. We're going to color him in the light color first because I'm not sure how dark I want this to be. I love soft suede. I think it's a beautiful color for animals. The deers and the bear and some other ones, but all that to say, double check your products when you get them. So if there's an issue, and hey, it happens, nothing is perfect, and we can address it right away. So I'm going to just color in. You might think, well, geez, Diane, you're only using one color, you're not actually blending. Why would it matter if you use the expensive Stampin' Blends? Well, that's because even though I'm using just one color, it's not going to leave streak lines like Stampin' Write markers, which are great for other purposes, and other markers. It's not going to leave strike lines because I can blend while it's still wet. I can blend it together. So, so that one is a little bit mucky still. Yeah, so you can blend them out a little bit and add a little shading here and there. And as they dry, I like to add the shading around like the legs, where maybe the fur you would see it a little bit in a different look. We'll let that dry a little bit. Grab the punch. And that's just a little bit, could be a little bit more well blended. There we go. Give his face a little bit more. I find if you use the brush end or the tip end, you will get different colors. So out of a pack of 2, you're actually going to get 4 shades. Now we're going to grab our punch that matches, or you can hand cut these guys out if you have the stamp set and not the punch. Go. I haven't used the deer in a little while, let me tell you. Here he is, and I'm going to pop him up on my old olive circle. I guess in hindsight I could have used the soft succulent again, but that might have been a little bit too much soft succulent. This gives a little bit different shading of the green. The other color in this paper, which is Boughs of Holly, it's called. I just double check that for you. Yes, Boughs of Holly, is Mossy Meadow. So a couple of different shades of green. There we go. And this, like I said at the beginning, had already been embossed, so I grabbed it from my scrap bin. Thought this makes a perfect piece. So we're going to pop this up on dimensionals. Won't this make a great swap card? I think they'll be like, woo, that's a new fold. I love new folds. Always fun. All right, we'll get that going there. I'm not going to have it actually centered top to bottom. I'm going to center it differently and add a little bit of color here. You have to let me know if Wednesday works for you, because I certainly like it. It's going to allow me to have my sorority meetings are going back to in person after 2.5 years of mostly being the odd outside and mostly not around one another. And my two Tuesday classes will be as well. So this will give me the opportunity to have Tuesdays as they are. Wednesdays will work perfectly. Team meeting is moving to Thursdays. So all in all, it's all going to work great. Now, has this ever happened to you? You open, hi Glenda, you open a stamp set and you go, huh, where did that stamp go? I am now on the hunt for Red October in my stamp room to find the Merry Christmas that was supposed to be in this stamp set. So that's going to take a little bit of thinking, because I'm pretty sure I used it last year, so I may have to do a little digging to find that one. It happens. Merry Christmas is a stamp that I use a lot, so I am sure I will have lots of choices. But it's a little disappointing when the set's not complete. So I will do a little looking to see where it has maybe found its way into another stamp set. Let's Celebrate is what I'm using here on a piece of cardstock that's already been die cut, because I had that sitting in the stash too. There we go. Doesn't that just make it easier? So if you're just joining me, this is Wednesday. Oh, I'm so glad. This is the double Z fold, double gate fold card. I'm not sure where the Z parts. I guess it comes in like this. Anyway, double gatefold card. So here we go. We're going to put this on. So when I stick a label that is going on a raised piece already, I will liquid glue or glue dot it in place and only put the dimensional on the part that needs to raise up and be even with the other. Otherwise, you end up with it kind of being a little cockeyed. So, oops, that's what I'm going for here. So add a little bit of liquid glue on this side and a dimensional on the right. And then I'm going to fill these holes, lovely as they are for ribbon. I'm going to fill them with, this is Cherry Cobbler, Real Red, and gosh, I think that's Mary Merlot. Let me double check. It says Cherry Cobbler and Real Red. So I have some choices. My red and green pearls, these are Cherry Cobbler. I love these. I'm using a lot of the gold. Oh, and it does have succulent as well. But let's just pop in with some Cherry Cobbler for some brightness, just to take away a little bit from the green. There we go. And there we have our Let's Celebrate. So I think this is mantle worthy as a card, because it will look beautiful sitting out and someone will just love this, receiving this card. So I hope you liked that. Thank you for joining me on a Wednesday, and I will be back on Monday next week and Wednesday next week, and we'll make some more cards together. Take good care. Bye for now.